for the more today by Educom Cooperative Credit Union. Value through service.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Byron Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, taking a shot at practical solutions to our gun problems. And in the second watch, press freedom in Jamaica gets lower ranking. How comes? For our social media question, we ask, how good a job is the Jamaican press doing? How good a job is the Jamaican press doing? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
Good morning. Today's I quote is an integrity quote, and it says, one of the most cowardly things ordinary people do is to shut their eyes to facts. Again, one of the most cowardly things ordinary people do is to shut their eyes to facts. And this nugget is by C.S. Lewis.
An interesting quote there.
Definitely interesting. Definitely, yeah.
Yes, it's a cowardly thing to do what?
To shut your eyes to facts.
To the facts. Yes, to ignore it totally.
Right.
I don't want to add or subtract from that.
No, man, it's fine as it is.
It's a fact, right?
It is.
It is. The first watch will be back after this break.
Mother's Day is coming up, so now's the time to get everything for mom. In the Answers and Simplicity 50% off everything Mother's Day sale. 50% off the best brands for mom at Answers Gift and Home Center. Answers for Children and Simplicity. Come and shop early. Get everything for mom. Visit Answers Gifts and Home in Tropical Plaza. Answers for Children in Tropical Plaza and Sovereign Center. And Simplicity in Manor Park Plaza. Now until May 6, 2023.
Do you have a heart condition? Your care should be in the hands of our experienced cardiovascular team at Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica. We're one of the leading heart centers for angiogram, stenting, pacemakers, EP studies, and ablation therapy. PICJ has the expertise and latest technology to treat all your heart needs. Call 876-995-7425 or email info@pic-jm.com for appointments. PICJ, your partners for life.
Every time my son send the liquor bottle for me, I have to go sit down and walk all day like me have nothing else to do. No, sir, me no fear do this.
Tired of spending all day at the wharf to clear your barrel?
Driver, turn up that the little bit for me there.
Starting May 1, use contactless clearance to clear your non-commercial shipments and avoid the long wait. Call Jamaica Customs today at 876-922-51408 or email contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm.
But God goody, me I go call customs and learn about the contactless clearance. Hook me up.
Less waiting, more convenience. Try Customs contactless clearance today.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the Ministry of Counseling and Prayer of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today, 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. It's the telephone counseling and prayer ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. A reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
When I come to the end of myself, Father, carry me.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, according to an April 18 newspaper headline, and I quote, "There seems to be no interest in stopping the guns," end of quote. This was reportedly said by our Prime Minister at the Regional Symposium on Violence, which was attended by CARICOM leaders in Port of Spain, Trinidad. He further sought to rally regional leaders by pressing for action on the illegal arms trade. But what are the main reasons for us still having a gun problem in Jamaica? And how do we solve it? Well, to help us answer these and other related questions, we have online Pastor Errol Bolt, pastor of the Kencot Christian Fellowship, and Mr. Wilfred Rattigan, attorney at law, former FBI agent, and security expert in law enforcement. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay. I understand that Mr. Rattigan is not on at the moment. Pastor Errol Bolt, you are with us, right?
Yes, I'm
good. Good. Great to have you. What are your opening thoughts on the gun problem in Jamaica today?
My opening thoughts, my brother, is that as bleak as it may sound, it's a perennial problem we have had. That started in the 70s. And sadly enough, the guns that came in and put in our young men the appetite for gun was put in their hands originally in the 70s by politicians, okay, to fight politics. And our young men develop a romance with the gun that has grown into the monster that we're dealing with right now. And it is an unfortunate thing that our culture, is so steep in the violence that, require a gun that destroys the lives of our fellow men. But the cause of it is here with us. And as you and I know, the bottom line of the cause is sin in the hearts of men, where they don't love their brother and they use their brother to destroy their brother to get what they want. And as a country, we have to deal with it. We see America is dealing with it in the way that she's going there. When guns are in the hands of sinful people, some of which have mental problems, some of which are depressed, etc., when they find the need to express themselves, they're going to use the gun to do so because it's readily available. And so in our country, it's sad that those who use the gun, it's a minority. And they use the gun to terrorize the majority. And the majority seem to be helpless in solving the problem. And of course, there are many reasons for that, some of which I'm sure we'll get into before the half an hour is over. But my opening remarks would say, unless we harness this monster and kill it, it is going to make this country a place that citizens want to run from, to go elsewhere to have some peace. It will cripple our economy. It will destroy family life, communities, put fear in our community. We have to deal with it. Of course, we will look at some of the reasons of how we can do that. But my opening remark would say it's a sad monster in our midst that must be conquered, at least be, defanged. We're going to take the venom out of it. We'll never fully get rid of it, but we certainly have to reduce it greatly in order to make our country a place where the citizens want to live in and where others want to come to, and cut down on the hurt, the wounds, the scars that mothers, sons, daughters go through when they lose their loved ones to the gun.
Yes. You mentioned about the history, Pastor. And persons might say, okay, that's past. The present realities, are those the same reasons that you mentioned in terms of what took place years ago? Or is it still happening?
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think the motivation is political. I think that presently what we're dealing with is men in our culture who have access to guns and who realize that they can use the guns, one, to earn a quick living, two, to retaliate to gangs that they see as their opponents, and three, to give them power, because everybody is afraid of the gun, because once the trigger is pulled, you could be history. So I think it's a different reason why they're using the guns now, to protect territory, differently from when it was originated in the beginning, to fight politics and to, secure votes and to intimidate people from coming out to vote. I think the reasons today are different. I would want to say poverty contributes also to it now. Yeah, poverty does, but I don't think necessarily that is a strong point here, because some of these people, men who are using the gun, they're not using it just to get food in the belly. They're using it for power, and they're using it for territory. So the reasons are different now.
Yes, and you mentioned poverty is really a factor, but not a reason, right?
Yes, it's a factor, but it's not really the reason, So, but if people can eat food, some of the men who use it to rob and take people's things from them, if they had a good job, certainly I don't think they'd want to go there, because there are young men who have guns, and they don't use the gun for a living. They use it for protection and to fight for territory, because they have a job, and they earn money, and they can buy the food. So there's a multiplicity of reasons here, but the main one is that gun represents power. When you have a gun, in your head, you have power. And you can use that to stop anybody and take away what they want, because people want to protect their lives. So they'll give you what you ask for, because they know the gun kills instantly, or paralyze you for life. So that's what's happening right now, my brother. I think, in our society. And I think that there are some things that we need to do as a people. We have to get up as a people and realize that this monster can be controlled, and do what is necessary to control it, because we have to pay a price to control the guns and to cut down on the violence and the death that come from it. We have to pay a price as a country, and I don't think that we are ready to do that yet. It's the same thing in America. Americans have the answer to the guns that are being used in mass killing. But America's politicians will not move on it, because the price that it requires, they're not prepared to pay it, because they have ulterior motives.
Say more on the price, as you have mentioned, Pastor Booth. What price? In what ways?
Already, there are things that we need to get done. One is that the people on the ground in the communities, they know where the guns are, and they know who own the guns and who fire the guns. We have to put in place a measure of protection for people, that when they speak up about where the guns are and who are using them, that they don't feel fearful of their lives.
Okay, Pastors, stick up in right there. All right, we are up on a break. We'll be right back.
Good.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Love 101 invites you to listen to Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, Thursdays at 10 p.m. Every first Thursday, listen for words of upliftment from the Lighthouse Assembly with Bishop Rowan Edwards. Every second Thursday at 10 p.m., listen for a word of encouragement from Wojis Ministries International. That's Women of God in Service with Reverend Dr. Elaine Richards. Every third Thursday, receive words of strength and power from Praise Deliverance Ministry with Senior Pastor Fitzroy Carr. Every fourth Thursday, Reverend Leonie Samuels of the Richmond New Testament Church of God in St. Mary shares words of hope. For fifth Thursdays, it's words of inspiration from the New United Bible Way Church of God with Reverend Dr. Jasmine Brown. That's Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches every Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You care more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
Follow Grace Sardine, follow the better flavor. Grace Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. Do all of them nice. Pass the part, let push it.
Grace Sardines, follow the better flavor.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the first watch, we're looking on the whole matter of the gun problem which exist in Jamaica today. Why and what are the practical solutions? And in so doing, we have online Pastor Errol Bolt, pastor of the Kencot Christian Fellowship, who has been giving us some interesting, intriguing information in regards to the way forward. You mentioned paying the price before the break. Could you say more on that, Pastor Bolt?
Okay, yes, we have to pay the price. As I was saying at the break, that we have to protect people on the ground who have information that can be shared with the police, that will get them where the guns are and where those who use the guns are. So that has to be, the price has to be paid in terms of the funds to do that, or the connection with foreign countries that we can send them to protect them after they have spoken the truth and get us inside the guns. We have to also realize that the government has to realize that God says he placed government in authority to curtail crime, and he says that the government, the sword that they carry, they have the power from God to use it. So capital punishment is not a man's idea, it's God's idea, because God knows the sin nature of man, and he knows that when a man takes a man's life, whether the gun or the knife, the Bible says he slaps God in the face, because it is God who made life, not man. So man has no power. Man has no right taking from anybody. So capital punishment can't be something that we are wishy-washy about. Today we are for it, tomorrow we are against it, because the first world countries pressure us into this. It has to be done here. And matter of fact, when God punished people in the Old Testament who did these things, they put them out in the public and stoned them to death. So that all those who are looking on will realize if you go that path, that will be your destiny. We have to get serious. We're not serious about it. Capital punishment must be brought back in, and it must be stable, not something that you step into and you step out. Okay? So that's one thing that needs to come. for sure. We have to get first world countries to stop sending guns here. Guard our borders, entry points where the guns coming from Haiti, Honduras, America, etc. Because Jamaica does not produce guns or make guns. So we have to stop the point that where the guns are coming in and pay the price for that in terms of whatever it requires to do that. The church has to play a part because the Bible says that in healing of a land is not healed because of government policies. Ultimately, a land is healed. It says, if my people are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray, I will hear from heaven and I will heal the land. Jamaica land needs to be healed of violence. The church plays a great part in prayer and in teaching people the value of life, etc., so that the church can play its part with the government to get this done. We have to curtail songs on the radio stations and that go out there that glorify gun crime, you know, and threaten people through songs and promote rebellion. These are things that must be curtailed because what people get fed in their mind is what come out when they act. Okay, and so you know, so goes the mind, so goes the man. So there has to be. We have to also provide help to people who have mental problems. I don't think that this is a great problem because many of our people who have mental problems and depression don't have a gun to use. While in America, it's the opposite. In America, they have over 300 million guns, they say, in America. So most Americans have guns. So when they take them and they lose touch with reality, they take it and go out and they murder people. We don't have that here. But we have some of the boys out there who are doing this, who are really mentally affected because of drugs that they're using. Okay? The other thing, too, is that we legalize marijuana to a certain degree in recent years here. And I'm telling you this as someone who counsels people. Okay? And I'm speaking from what I know because I am chairman for the board of Teen Challenge International in Jamaica, which is a drug rehab program. And the men that I counsel with, I can tell you that the problems that they're having come from marijuana, which is an entry drug that they smoke. Some young men head can't take what the effect and the impact of the weed. And so when they may take them, they pick up the guns and they go up there because they kind of lose touchstone with reality and they go and they commit these crimes. So I don't know what got into our government's head, except the fact that they want to be the first ones to get the big bucks from marijuana sale. They don't want America to get it. And so they legalize it. I know little boys on the street now walking with this spliff cascading out of their mouth, you know, as if it's power, messing up their head. That has to be controlled there. That's something that must be looked at. Also, my brother, absentee fathers. Okay, many of the boys that are using the guns are in gangs. And they are in gangs because they grew up with no father. They are the product of a sperm, but not the product of a home or a family. As a result of that, they too are out there committing their crime. I remember reading where one paper said that there was a gang that called themselves the fatherless crew. Okay? Yeah, because they're looking for love, looking for identity, they're looking for acceptance and belonging, and they find it in the gang. And some of them, the gang requires that they have to go out and make so many duppies out of people to show that they're really, you know, bravado. So these are things that must be addressed, and it's got to be a multiple-pronged approach. Government, church, private sector, schools, sports must have zero tolerance. I was very proud recently at Champs when I saw this exec from Grace said that they would pull their money from Champs if Champs get violence because they're not about violence. We need private sector and organizations and agencies who support certain entities to say, hey, listen, if violence is there, my money is not coming. So we have to apply the pressure from every angle there is. Horace Chang has his job cut out for him and his team, but they have to take the bull by the horn because if they don't do it, this country will be crippled by the gun.
Okay.
So that's all I thought here.
Mr. Pastor, I gave you the opportunity to to speak your mind a while ago as you saw it, and you mentioned a number of things there, at least 7 of them. So a couple of them I'd like to drill down on. You mentioned paying the price first, right? Does that include sacrificing, our comforts, creature comforts, our very lives for speaking out against the injustice, for reporting what we know in terms of the funds being hidden and all of that?
Yes, my brother, it does, because everything requires a price. Even our salvation took the life, blood out of Jesus Christ. Okay? We have to pay a price. Everything we do in life requires a price that we pay. A woman wants to be a mother, she pay a price. Labor, pain, wine, liquor, shot. Alrighty? When time comes for birth. So we have to pay the price. And our government needs to sensitize us to the fact that there's a price to be paid, and Jamaica has to be prepared to pay that price if we want to control this demon called gun violence.
You also mentioned capital punishment.
Yes.
In terms of the data, are you convinced that those countries that have capital punishment actually serve as deterrents to the crimes we are experiencing in Jamaica?
Well, I tell you, my brother, I am not going from the data that they have, because their data is inferior to the mind of God. And it is the mind of God that conceives capital punishment. It's the mind of God. And if God says that, he knows the history of mankind from the beginning to the end. And he knew the path of violence and death that we would wage upon this earth. And he said, when a man takes a life, you take his life if he's found guilty of it. Okay? And it is true, because if you look at it, why do you think when gunmen kill people, they run and hide? It is because they think that their lives are valuable and they don't want to be caught and to be killed. So they go and they hide. So
those who, sorry, Pastor, those who argue that many of them don't expect to live beyond a certain age. And you had a crew that said that name done dead already, I think years ago. How you address those persons who don't even anticipate or expect to live beyond 25?
Well, I think that they're not beyond rehabilitation. Some can be rehabilitated. So I don't want to be understood as to wipe them out, get rid of them. No, there are some there that are acting with darkness and ignorance, and I have seen several. For example, even in the programs that I work with, who have been redeemed from the guns. I remember, one man, years ago that brought a whole briefcase, of guns to be turned in to the police, because he came to know the Lord, realized what he was doing is wrong, and he wants to change. So they can change, but there are some that will not change because they are just so scarred. And you have got to be, as a government, firm enough that when that happens and they're found guilty, that they're given the death penalty. And those who are doing it, when they see that, will realize that the government is serious. They all put value on their lives, even if them talk about them are done dead already. They put value on their lives.
Okay. Well, we have 1 minute, less than 1 minute to go. I need to ask you though, in terms of the cause every now and then for gun amnesty. What's your quick take on that?
Well, no, I don't think that works. From I was a young man in this country, they are doing a gun amnesty, and it has not made any impact significant enough to say, hey, go for it. I think that people bring in some little half-dead gun, come to the authorities, you know what I mean? There, and they keep back the big boys. They keep them back for to be used. I don't.
You're not in support of it?
No, I'm not in support of it.
Doesn't make much sense, eh?
No, it doesn't make enough impact for it to be on the table at all. I think we have to take the monster by the horn and kill it. The government, the church, a school.
Okay.
Yes.
One church. Well said, Pastor. Thank you so much for joining us, Pastor Errol. And keep up the good work, sir.
Thank you much. Pleasure is mine. Have a great day, my brother. Bye-bye.
You too. Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
JN Bank Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality. The time by JN Bank Small Business Loans is
7:30. We also want to thank Educom Cooperative Credit Union for sponsoring the Morning Watch. Value through service.
Now who can do that? Juicy. Put in a chicken patty for your little boosting. At the party specialist with something new on the menu. Cheese at the callaloo in the party too. Make it a cala party. At the time, cause you know we have to have it. Any kind of party. At the time, cause you know me have to have it. Add callaloo and cheese anytime, anywhere to any party. Beef, chicken, shrimp, veggie or soy. Calapati is here to stay. Only at Juicy, the party specialist.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
For 51 years, Under the Law has been helping you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. The program is brought to you on Wednesday by the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy. Under the Law at 6:20 a.m., 2:35, 6:45, and 9:10 p.m. on Love 101 FM.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Gleaner. I'm no thief. PNP councillor confesses ignorance in face of IC breaches as charges loom. And then Prendergast, remain vigilant, he's saying, in keeping press freedoms. In the Observer, curfew imposed in sections of Portmore St. Catherine. I wonder what sections those are. And then also in the Observer, Toussaint announces new life initiative inspired by an Observer story. Great. And then Loop News, no same-sex marriage to be sanctioned locally, says Chuck. Continued position comes amid increase in applications from LGBTQ community. Interesting. And then PM warns TikTok, YouTube creators spreading false news on the government, and says that government not into tricking people, but focused on changing people's lives. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. How good a job is the Jamaican press doing? I repeat, how good a job is the Jamaican press doing in your view? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM, Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Hey, small people, listen up. Join us weekdays, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. for the Small People Show with Auntie Colleen. Yes, every day we have something educational and fun for you to enjoy. Plus, on a fifth Friday, you get a chance to hail up your friends and community, and you could win a prize too. That's the Small People Show, where we aim to build characters and empower our small people for the future. Remember to tell a friend and stay for the fun. It's the Small People Show with Auntie Colleen on the family station, Love 101.
Are you ready for another exciting show inside Alive 1 to 5 this Throwback Thursday, May 4? Well, join me, your host, Sarah M., the Chirpy One, for another time to recollect and reconnect. Stay tuned for the greatest segment size at 1:45. Then Prayer Blast will be at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bowls of heaven. 2:15 inside Pieces of the Past, we share some more historic facts with you. Then at 3 p.m., we bring you the season finale, part 2 of Proverbially Speaking. All the time will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. this Throwback Thursday, May 4 on the family station, Love 101. Celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Love 101, you're invited to listen to Good Morning Minister, a weekly feature where government ministers will speak about the development in their various ministries. Listen for the updates and have your questions and concerns ready to share inside Good Morning Minister as the Minister of Information, Robert Nesta Morgan, and a guest minister or agency head discuss the issues and take your questions and suggestions. Get ready to call in during Good Morning Minister, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, right here on Love 101, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Byron Toussaint. Let's now join Jukal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. How good a job is the Jamaican press doing? Any responses, Jukal?
Yes, so I do have some responses here on our WhatsApp line. We do have Edna. It was so faithful, Edna sent a response. So let's listen to what she has to say.
Good morning, Morning Watch, love listeners and staff. For me, I think the press is doing a fairly good job, but there's always room for improvement. Yes, that's my thought on it.
And that is from Edna in Montego Bay. This one is from Monica. Monica says, unfortunately, the vigorous reporting of former years have watered down in recent times. New items have been buried because heads of media houses don't want to step on certain powerful and influential people's toes. We're not seeing the type of investigative journalism necessary to make real democracy strive. Who else? Phyllis from St. Thomas. Let's listen to what Phyllis has to say.
Good morning, good morning. Well, I think they're doing their best that they can because now people have phones and sometimes they pick up information first and send it out on Facebook and whatever. So they have a hard task that way. So they are doing their best. Sometimes some of the news the other people send out is not even the right news, but I think they are working, and things is gonna get better. They are working.
All right, that one is Phyllis from St. Thomas. Finally, somebody here, I didn't catch the name, there's no name, but it says, Jamaica is doing a poor job. The media reports only what's socially acceptable, especially for government. Government officials who don't pay taxes, nothing happens to them, so their agencies are little, and that is what she has to say. Finally, she says the Jamaican press is biased. So that's the final response I have here.
That's serious responses there, Jukal.
Yeah, very, very interesting response.
Yes, very varied. Moves from poor job to fairly good to doing their best.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
You notice that? Yes. We want to thank the responders. Interesting stuff. Okay. We now segue into the second watch. And although Jamaica continues to rank among the safest places in the world for journalists, the latest report published actually yesterday sent us spiraling down 20 spots from a rank of 12 to 32. And this took place over one decade year. Now, what could have caused this dip? And what are the remedies? Well, to give us some answers, we have joining us Mr. Byron Buckley, Vice President of the Association of Christian Communicators and Media, and also is the second Vice President, Association of Caribbean Media Workers. And I think we are hoped to be joined later on in the program by Mr. Milton Walker, who's the president of the Press Association of Jamaica. Good morning to you.
Morning, Toussaint. I want to claim my former presidency of the Jamaica Press Association, which is the oldest association in the Caribbean.
Okay, sir. Good to have you, Mr. Buckley.
How are you doing? Greetings.
Great, I'm well. All right, so we hope to be joining Mr. Walker shortly. Now, for the record, what really is the World Press Freedom Index, and how are the rankings really determined?
The Reporters Without Borders, which is I think a French-based organization, carries out this survey across the world, and to get a feeling, a reading, I should say, more than a feeling, of the level of press freedom across the world. And in fact, the index is broken down in about 5 different criteria or indicators, and I think that's where the story really lies. So if you pardon me, I'll tell you, but the story really lies in that. So they look at, for example, the political indicator, the economic indicator, legislative indicator, socio-cultural indicator, and security and safety indicator. And so those are broken down, and then a larger score, a total score is given. But Jamaica's story really rests in what's happening in those indicators. And I can go ahead and tell you what's happening there.
Yes,
when you break, and I'm going to compare last year with this year, so I'm looking at 2022 versus 2023. When you look, for example, at a legislative indicator, our biggest loss, our biggest decline year over year, last year compared to this year, 14 points. We were 82.4 last year. This year we scored 68.4. We're down 14 points in the area, the criteria of legislative indicator. Let me read what that is. The legislative indicator evaluates the legislative and regulatory environment for journalists, including the level of censorship, the level of impunity for violence against journalists, and the ability to protect sources. So when Milton come on, you have to ask him, what is actually happening in the newsrooms? This is what this indicator says. The other one, we're down 9 points in the socio-cultural category. Hear this now. Hear this, Jamaica. Last year, we topped the world. We were number 1 in the socio-cultural category. We scored 95 out of 100 last year. We have dropped down in socio-cultural this year to 86.5. What does socio-cultural, what's that about? Let me read for you, that indicator. That indicator evaluates social constraints based on such issues as gender, class, ethnicity, and religion, and cultural barriers to questioning certain bastions of power. In other words, we speak truth to power, right? That's what the social culture is. But we have dropped from number 1 in the world, and we're down 9 points. When you look at economic indicator, we are down. We're not even down. We're steady. When you look at political indicator, we're down 7. And in fact, this year, our lowest score is in the political indicator area. We got 67.7, down from 74 last year. So we're down 7. All right? And the last one is security. This is where I thought we would have had our most serious drop, but we're down by 7 over last year. We're 92.5 because journalists generally are safe and secure in Jamaica. And this year we scored 85, so we're down 7. So on average, it looks like we're down about 8 or so points across all the indicators, but we're down the largest in the area of legislative indicator. We don't know what is happening there and what is the reading from those who.
But the political indicator, how much are we down?
We're down 7. We were 74 last year, and we're 67 now.
And the legislative stuff is how much?
That one we were 82 and now 68. So we're scoring the lowest this year in both the political and the legislative indicators. Those are below 70.
Okay.
60. So those are the areas that got us out really.
All right. Stick up in right there, Mr. Buckley. We're up on a break. We'll be right back.
Praise sardine for the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody
Praise
selling.
sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:45.
To Mom with Love, Bashco is giving away 2 refrigerators this Mother's Day. Starting April 24th, for every 6,000 Jamaican dollars, inclusive of GTT, spent in Bashco, you get a chance to win.
That's right. Just fill out your entry form and drop it in the box provided at all Bashco locations. It's that simple. The winner will be chosen on May 12, 2023 during our fun day at our Mandeville store located at 10 Manchester Road.
The more you spend at Bashco, the more chances you have to win.
Check the press and our social media pages for details.
Bashco, the store that gives you more this Mother's Day.
Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the second watch, we have been discussing the whole matter of the lower ranking in regards to press freedom in Jamaica. And we're asking how comes. And in so doing, we have online Mr. Byron Buckley, past president of the PAJ, vice president of the Association of Christian Communicators and Media, and also second vice president of the Association of Caribbean Media Workers. Not sure if Mr. Milton Walker is on now. Is he on?
Good morning.
Mr. Walker?
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good to have you on with us. Welcome. President of the Press Association of Jamaica. All right. I don't know if you're able to hear what Mr. Buckley was saying earlier, but he gave us an idea of the whole World Press Freedom Index and how it's determined. What are your thoughts on the findings so far?
Okay, fine. Well, first, I didn't hear anything that Byron said since I was just
okay.
Called. Pardon me. The World Press Freedom Index is generated by a series of questionnaires which are sent to persons in the respective countries around the world, and they complete that questionnaire, and then Reporters Without Borders process the data that's in that particular questionnaire, or those questionnaires. My understanding is that the questionnaire changed this year, and it was also a bit longer, a bit more detailed. We really don't know what specifically has resulted in this drop. We are concerned, but we're not alarmed at the PHA because we believe that the structural environment in terms of where we operate has remained the same. We don't know of any new oppressive legislation which will hinder our work being passed or proposed, and there are no threats to our journalists. There was an incident last year which I think may have had some impact. I don't think it's the reason for all the drop, where a Television Jamaica correspondent and a Gleaner reporter were attacked by a thug in Homestead in Spanish Town in November. Damaged the camera and attempted to seize the Gleaner reporter's phone. The person the attacker was eventually arrested a couple of days or a week or two later, and it went before the courts. Unfortunately, the gentleman was murdered in, I think, January in Clarendon in an incident. I'm not quite sure what the circumstances were. So, of course, that case died with him.
Mm-hmm.
But, attacks on journalists are rare in Jamaica, and RSF, Reporters Without Borders, indicated as such. We are going to be looking in more detail with the report. It doesn't really give you a specific country report. Says these are the issues why you have fallen and so on. So we want to get a better understanding, and I think we'll be having seeking to have dialogue with our colleagues at Reporters Without Borders to find out exactly what are the issues.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mr. Buckley, I believe I'd interrupted your train of thought before the break. You'd like to complete your thought?
Well, just to perhaps background, I'm Milton, since he was on, to just tell him what's going to break down.
I'm not hearing Byron.
Yep. Milton?
He says not hearing you, Mr. Buckley.
Milton?
Yes, I'm hearing you now, Byron. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So Milton, what I did was to break down the indicators. So year over year, so our biggest drop is in the area of legislative indicator. We dropped 14 points over last year.
And the next is the political indicator.
The next one is the political indicator. We're down by 7. Well, actually, sociocultural is where we're down by 9. And last year we topped the world in the sociocultural indicator. We were in number 195.
Yeah, but Mr. Buckley, I don't know if you saw or heard of what was said by the information minister, reportedly in the Gleaner at least yesterday, where he's saying that he's downplaying Jamaica's 20th place drop in the World Press Freedom Index, citing a change in the ranking methodology. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, and that's the point that Milton made a while ago. But even if you have the change, what I'm saying is that if you have to look at the indicators to see, even with the new approach, where it is that we are having a significant change. Mm-hmm. And I am saying that well then it means that Milton and the team have to go and look exactly at the new
right. And that's what I meant when I said we want to find out what exactly they mean that which have led to these falls in the various indicators which contribute to the total drop.
Yeah.
What I want to say, Toussaint, though, that even with the drop, when I looked at our positioning, though, Jamaica, along with Costa Rica and Trinidad and Tobago, are the top 32. This is the Americas. We are the top. We are among the top 32 in the world. Jamaica, Costa Rica, Trinidad and Tobago. Right? Yeah. We are ahead of the USA. Don't forget that. Right? Jamaica is in 13 places above the USA.
Which brings the point I want to share with you. Does it really matter? I mean, there are persons I think who are saying, these things are done by persons who are overseas and they have different views, different perspectives. If you have a cameraman being attacked, in a case like that, how could that influence this drop?
Let me interrupt there because a lot of people think press freedom is only ensured by the state legislation and the state creating this environment, not intimidating journalists and stuff. But in some countries and in other parts of the world, and in Jamaica, it can happen. Private players can have an impact on press freedom as much as or even more than a government can. There can be economic pressure from companies. There can be intimidation from gangs. In Mexico, for example, drug gangs have been very vicious, and they've killed a lot of journalists have been killed. I think Mexico is perhaps the worst place for journalists to operate because
and Jamaica does not have that reality.
Right.
So one incident, how could that impact so much the ratings?
we don't know. And one of the things, I mean, Byron referred to the indicators, and if you look at the indicators, when you compare them, then there's a difference in the numbers, because in terms of, I think it's, you may use the weighting, because, for example, it says the political indicator is 32 out of 74.5, I think. And the other, in this year, it's 43 out of 67.75. So that there's some change there. And that's what I meant when I said that the questionnaire has changed and it's longer. I used to be a responder for the questionnaire years ago when I was in the PHA with Byron. Since my return last September, I'm not yet, so I suspect they'll probably ask me for next year. But the questionnaire wasn't very long, but you know, and it wasn't really complicated, but I gather it's gotten very long. There's a point I want to make also about and I think Dylan mentioned it, about foreigners looking at our situation and not knowing our reality. And that's something which we in the Association of Caribbean Media Workers, this is at the regional level, have talked about. We spoke about it at one of our meetings early this year and at our ACCM, whether or not we should be looking, and I think we are looking at doing it, a ranking for our region by ourselves, which would obviously take into account our reality as a region, because the Caribbean is a unique region. We have issues just like anybody else.
It's almost like a Privy Council debate. Anyway, go on, Milton, go on.
So, and I think the ACM is looking in the process of designing its own questionnaire that you will ask persons in the region to design. You know, I'm sure there are going to be some persons who are going to say, well, you know, we prefer the foreign people are, you know, making that assessment and they're unbiased, but you know, as I said, we have to drill down, and we really want to have a discussion with RSF to find out what exactly.
20 points, yeah. All right, as we wind down this discussion, what needs to be done then to reverse this, you know, that has taken place, if we think anything needs to be done? Mr. Buckley?
Well, I think the first thing to do is to look back at the instrument to see if the methodology as significant is the cause for the decline. But as I said, that aside, the breakdown would show that we are doing. In other words, on the political indicator, for example, we have scored below 70. So lowest area we score below 67. Legislative 68. So we just look at what the new criteria are, and then look back at our situation and see if it makes sense objectively. I think that generally speaking, we're doing way better. We can't pump ourselves. We have to
become complacent.
Yeah.
Thanks, Byron. Milton, your closing thought.
I think journalists need to continue to do the work that they're doing without fear or favor. We need to continue to hold government officials, civil servants, agents of the state to account. We need to continue to do what our mandate is. And for me, I would like to use this phrase, which I learned some years ago. Journalism is about afflicting the comforted and comforting the afflicted.
Yeah, great note on which to end. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Keep up the very important work that you have been doing for our nation and the world. Have a safe day.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, listeners, for being with us. For information, we'll get copies of this program. Call our production department at 876-968-959627. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I'm Dylan Toussaint, reminding you to be purposeful, faithful, thankful, and of course, watchful as I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Jokal Daya.
The Morning Watch was brought to you by Educom Cooperative Credit Union. Value through service. Time on Love 101 is now 8